Good evening once again as we start a new week. This was day 1173 of the Trump administration. 211 days remain until our presidential election. And in case you missed today's White House coronavirus task force briefing, it's a bit difficult to know where to begin. But for starters, there's been another perfect call. The president says a conference call that Mike Pence had with all 50 governors was perfect. It's a title he previously reserved only for his call with the Ukrainian president. And as phone calls go, it's a lofty goal to achieve. The president reports there wasn't a negative person on the call, and that just might be because governors have come to fear criticism of the president could mean that ventilators won't be on the way. They were so positive, the president said to reporters, "I just wish the politicians would say to you what they say to us." About Mike Pence, Trump said today, "I put him there. I thought he'd do well." He said supplies are being delivered on big planes. They're very big, very powerful. He said he'll probably be tested for coronavirus quite a few times because the system of testing is now so quick and so easy, because it is at the White House. He said a month ago that anybody who wants a test can get a test. Remember that appearance at the CDC? Well, it wasn't true then, and it's not true tonight. He indicated today that's a state matter. He said today reporters should begin their questions to him with "Congratulations, great job." He says he can see light at the end of the tunnel, and he views this current mitigation period as finite. He said today, "Let's get it done." He told Americans to stay inside, but when reminded that 8 states have no similar recommendation, he said he has a moral and constitutional problem enforcing that kind of thing. The White House now says we should consolidate our visits to the grocery store and pharmacy to once every 2 weeks. Now, in the real world, we passed a bad benchmark today when the death toll surpassed 10,000. We still don't know how many Americans have the virus, but confirmed cases now surpass 364,000. The number of confirmed cases around the globe now over 1.3 million. One of those cases is British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who tested positive for the virus 12 days ago now, and he is now in intensive care. He was hospitalized there earlier today. Trump today talked about what's
going to take place.
As we mentioned here in the United States, over 10,000 souls have now been lost to this virus. The Surgeon General, Dr. Jerome Adams, predicted this week would be, quote, our Pearl Harbor moment, our 9/11 moment, the hardest week of our lives. Tonight, Trump offered a more optimistic assessment.
The next week and a half is going to be a big surge, the professionals tell us, and I think we're in good shape. We're bringing a lot of different resources to the various locations, especially where the surge is looking like it's going to take place. Let's get our country open as soon as we can. I think it's going to be sooner than people think.
The noted infectious disease expert, Dr. Tony Fauci, had a much more cautious view of what it will take to get back to our lives as we knew it.
When we say getting back to normal, we mean something very different from what we're going through right now. Because right now we are in a very intense mitigation. If you want to get to pre-coronavirus, you know, that might not ever happen in the sense of the fact that the threat is there. But I believe with the therapies that will be coming online and with the fact that I feel confident that over a period of time we will get a good vaccine, that we will never have to get back to where we are right back now. So if that means getting back to normal, then we'll get back to normal.
The states of New York and New Jersey are still being hit the hardest by this pandemic. There are also significant clusters now in Michigan, California, Louisiana, Massachusetts, for starters. In New York, the crisis remains severe with over 130,000 cases, the most of any state. Today, Governor Cuomo announced schools and non-essential businesses will remain closed through the 29th of this month, but he also offered this glimmer of hope.
Number of people we lost, number of New Yorkers, 4,758. which is up from 159, but which is effectively flat for 2 days. While none of this is good news, the possible flattening of the curve is better than the increases that we have seen. The ICU admissions are down and the daily intubations are down. Those are all good signs, and again would suggest a possible flattening of the curve.
And across the river, Phil Murphy, the governor of New Jersey, said he was seeing a similar trend.
Since yesterday, we have received another 3,663 positive test results. That brings the statewide total to 41,090. We fully expect these numbers to rise to the levels they are rising to, and we expect them to go higher. However, what we are seeing in real time and over the past week is a decline in the growth rate of new cases from 24% day over day on March 30th to roughly 12% today. This means that our efforts to flatten the curve are starting, and I say starting, to pay off.
Now, hospitals in both states are getting more relief tonight. The White House signed off on allowing that huge Navy hospital ship Comfort to accept coronavirus patients. Cases in other U.S. cities are expected to peak in the middle of this month. Tonight, a curfew got underway. 9 p.m. in Boston remains in effect now until the 4th of May. Then there's the new report from the Inspector General at the Department of Health and Human Services concerning the White House response to this virus. An examination of more than 300 hospitals in late March found their ability to respond has been hampered by severe shortages of protected gear, staff, and testing. That backs up a lot of what we've heard from medical staff and the nation's governors as recently as tonight, but it contrasts with the president's boasts about the federal government response under him. Here is what happened when he was asked today about this report.
We are doing an incredible job.